What's happening? What's happening? We are here with Black Equity Conversations in preparation for Black Equity Con. We have today on the show Mr. Michael Redd, athlete, entrepreneur, visionary, business main. What's happening, man?
Too kind, brother. You're too kind. You're too kind. How you doing, man?
Man, I am phenomenal, man. I'm honestly excited. June 9th and 10th. I don't know if you what you got going on, but June 9th and 10th in Miami is going to be a movie. 3,000 entrepreneurs all in one place, man.
Wow.
Yeah,
First,
yeah.
congratulations, and
Thank you.
I want to thank you for being on my podcast a few weeks ago. We had a great time, so thank you, man, for the invitation to be there. I think I may be on vacation with the family, but thank you, though.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Look, man, I just want to jump straight into it, man, because our community never really talks about equity. And I don't think people understand what equity is exactly. So I just want to kind of get into some of your story real quick. First question is, do you own your house?
I do.
When did you buy it?
Years ago, over a decade ago.
Gotcha.
Actually.
Do you know what you bought it for? How much you bought it for?
I do.
How much?
I can't disclose that.
You can't
I
tell me?
built it.
Oh, you
Actually
built it.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it worth more now than it was when you bought it?
I would say yes.
Gotcha. You haven't really checked.
It's complicated, but yes, I would say
Gotcha.
yes.
When you have a castle, you know, you can't. It's not too many other castles, probably. You can't really compare it. So, I get you. I get you. I do want to ask this. This is interesting because you were in the NBA for how long?
12 years.
12 years in the league. Question for you: when you guys when they put y'all in the video game, do y'all get any money for that?
We do.
Do you?
Rotate. Oh, for sure.
Everybody gets a check?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah. Anytime that our likeness is used, we get royalty checks from that.
How do they calculate it?
I don't know how they do it, but I know each player, part of our collective bargaining agreement is to have retired players, current players, anytime our image is used in video games, we get a cut of that. So,
Oh, wow.
cool. Still getting them. Yeah.
From being in the game.
Yeah, for being in the game.
I wonder if, there was a time period where Michael Jordan just didn't want to be in any of the games.
Right.
What was that situation?
I don't know. That's a great, I mean, back when in the 90s, we all wanted the same thing, playing the video games. I have no idea. I think it may go along with the topic of tonight, equity.
Yeah, for sure.
Knowing his value, knowing his worth, and not being able to come to an agreement on the opportunity.
Dang, that's crazy. Okay, so even when y'all, they sell jerseys, right? They wear your jersey, you get a cut off of each jersey sold?
Yep.
That's dope. That's dope. Okay. All right, so in your if you can kind of talk through how a contract works, because we all seen the what was it called, The Last Dance, where Scottie Pippen he was like, yo, I will take, just give me the money right now because I want to secure that for a longer period of time. Did you have to have any conversations like that, or were you given options that you had to really think through something?
Yeah, I had an agent, and we're dear friends to this day. But in that particular deal, my last big deal, I pretty much had to negotiate that on my own at 25 years old. And it was interesting. So when you're a max player, it's already capped.
What does that mean?
So a max player is you get the absolute amount of money that you can make, right? You don't worry about bonuses or anything like that. You get the max amount of money that you could possibly make. And
Gotcha.
So there was not too much to really negotiate beyond that. Little nuances locally, marketing opportunities locally, to add to that contract, but the contract was set. So
Gotcha.
it was an opportunity to go to Cleveland, different organizations, but it was a sizable cut from where I would have gotten Milwaukee.
Mm,
So Nike was at the time willing to make up some of the money that I would have not made in Milwaukee, but it wasn't enough. So
gotcha.
yeah, I wound up staying in Milwaukee.
Cool, cool. And how long were you in the league?
12 years.
12
12 years.
years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as an athlete, were you making investments as like the money's coming in? Because I know a lot of athletes
Right.
don't, right? They just live the life.
Well, you know what? It's interesting because I tell guys today to focus on them and being the best basketball player you can be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, with social media over the last 10 plus years, 14, 15 years, guys have become more brand savvy, more
Right.
aware. And so, but at the end of the day, there'll be time to delve into different spaces.
Mm-hmm.
But you're proud of your body, your game is the product right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when we played, the primary focus was how good can we get at the craft? How good can we get at becoming the best player in the world? And that was the focus. Then everything else was a secondary consequence of that. But the modern athlete is more savvy. Um, Social media obviously has accelerated that. And now everybody is on their brain, right? And so that's the buzzword of the day. Um, but I always encourage guys to, the more opportunities will come your way, deals will come your way if you can produce at what you do now, right?
Gotcha. Gotcha.
If that
So,
makes sense. So,
right. They're saying people are saying that it's echoed. I don't know why. I don't know where it's echoed at. It's weird. Hold on one second. Let me.
mhm.
Let's try right there. Okay. Y'all tell me in the chat. Let me know if it's still echoed. Let me know in the chat. I think I might have fixed the problem. Okay. So, and you know, it's crazy. I was talking to my boy. He was in the league. I don't know if I can share his name, but he said the game is
Right.
trash now, man. He said it's hard to watch the game because it's not like skills. He said they're scoring a bunch of points, but the game is not the same. People don't take pride in the craft as much. Would
Right.
you agree with
Right.
that?
The rule changes have helped that, right? The game is more of a European style, more of an up and down pace. It's
Mm-hmm.
not as physical as it was when we played.
Yeah.
Um, and like the focus, and guys love to play, but the focus now is like my swag, my drip, my clothes, my
Mm,
cars, my IG. Like there's so much, I want to say distraction compared to just pure basketball,
yeah.
pure. I want to be a killer. I want to be the greatest player in the world. I want our team to win championships. Like that dynamic isn't as there as it was years ago, right?
Gotcha.
So you're playing for the gram, you're playing for highlights, you're playing. Like it's a different era,
Yeah.
and I don't demonize it. It's just kind of where the modern athlete is.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. So you didn't start investing in businesses until after you left the league. Is that right?
Yep,
Gotcha.
yep.
First investment. What was it?
Into a venture fund, actually.
Really? Okay. Explain
Yeah,
a venture fund.
venture capital.
Mm,
It's basically I call it threes and layups, right? Venture capital is all about going big or going home. And then big bets, right? Firms different than private equity, but venture is some people call it vulture capital, but it's venture because a company has the ability to scale, grow, and they go to a venture firm to get capital, but with that comes a dilution of equity in your business, right?
mm-hmm.
So I always encourage startups to not go to venture and just bootstrap and become a profitable company. And then you grow based off of the profits of the company more than going to a venture capital firm to get diluted 30, 40%. So, um, but yeah, venture firms are available for access to capital, mentorship, strategy, resources. Um, but the ironic thing about it is that I think less than 1% of all black companies get funded by venture capital firms.
Oh, whoa,
So
whoa. Okay. Say that one more time. Less
less
than
than
1%?
1%. Less than 1% of all black-owned businesses get funded by venture capital firms.
Because they're not because they don't have access to the capital, or they just don't know about it.
So I think it's purposeful. Um, you get the kid from Stanford, the kid from Harvard, you get the kid from Silicon Valley, right? Those are the kids that typically get funded. Black-owned businesses do not get funded for whatever reason, but they just don't. And primarily, I think it's because we don't look like the GPs who are in charge, general partners who are in charge of those investment opportunities. There's an empathy gap when it comes to people of color in positions of managing partners or general partners. Guys and ladies who are making the decisions are usually going to cater to the people that look like them, right? So
Mm,
we need more African American people of color venture capitalists to close the empathy gap as far as access to capital.
gotcha. So this venture capital fund, was it already there and you just bought into it, or did you create it?
No, it was there. It was
It-
there. And
Gotcha.
I tell people all the time about venture investing. It's not about just investing into a bunch of deals. It's about having access to the right deals,
Mhm.
right? So you want to be in a deal that's being funded by Sequoia or Credit Suisse or Goldman, or you want to be in those deals more so than, hey, I'm investing in a number of deals. The chances of in venture capital, at least, the chances of all the companies succeeding probably slim to none. Out of 10
Mm,
companies, 8 to 9 of them will fail, probably, most likely. So that's what you're either shooting a three or you're shooting a layup in venture. So it's go big or go home. And so ventures is there's got to be a risk tolerance when you begin to invest in venture capital.
gotcha. So when you invested in that firm, does that make you an equity owner in the company?
Just the LP, yeah, just the LP. I'm an LP in the fund, limited partner in the fund.
Okay, explain
So
explain that to me.
so there's a number of companies within the fund. And so I invested instead of investing in one company in particular, I invested in all the companies through the fund.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So there's company, let's say the name of the company is Shands Investments. I like the ring of that. So Shands
There
Investments,
you go.
I I have like 10 companies that I'm invested in. So you can put some money with my firm, and based on the profits of them all, you'll get.
Absolutely, ours first, and the GP will get the carry.
Gotcha.
Whatever else is made. So I was an LP. That's exactly right. So for me, if you as an investor, I just don't want to invest in one company and roll the dice with one company and put all my eggs in one company. I want access to your whole portfolio, so I have access to all the companies. And so that's
Got
what
it.
I did. And it took me. I'm still a novice in all of this, right? I think it's important to stay a novice in investing and all of that, right? And obviously gain knowledge. So you look at 22 Ventures, right, where we are right now.
And that's not the original company that you invested
No,
with. You
no,
started this yourself.
yeah, yeah.
Before you get into what you're about to say, because
Okay.
Kaya's Closet had a really good question. How much do you need to get into VC? So I guess it's one amount to invest with other companies, but I guess another amount obviously to start your own.
Yeah. Well, in some firms you got to be an accredited investor, and that's 250 or above to get involved as far as your net worth. But the problem that we as people of color, we don't have the opportunity to get access to a Facebook, to a Google, to a Alibaba, right? So it's about getting access to the deal because sometimes it doesn't matter how much money you have, you just can't get access to the deal.
Mm, okay. All right. What were you about to say? You were about to say something else.
Um, no, I've just been learning over the last 10 years since I retired from basketball, learning what not to do and learning what to do, which is the creation of 22 Ventures. And so for us, we want to be able to access and give resources to people of color and give them opportunity.
So 22 Ventures, do they only invest in minority companies?
Not only the best companies, and the best companies not always ran by the same color.
But
So
the only reason because you were saying that I want to give like African Americans
we do
access to
absolutely,
capital.
everybody,
Gotcha.
right? And so my notion is this: like, there are brilliant companies ran by people of color that just don't get the opportunity,
Hmm.
right? So I want to invest into the best opportunities, and the best opportunities always aren't always ran by the opposite race. They're ran by everybody, women, no matter your background, creed, whatever. It's the most brilliant companies that should win and get access.
Gotcha. So I would imagine in that, how long were you in the partnership? Where where you were just an LP? LP is called
So yeah, yeah,
limited
limited
partnership.
part.
How long were you with them?
Still with them,
You're still
still
with
with,
them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So the
Oh,
fun,
so it must be working out.
yeah, it is, it is, it is, it is. There's a number of companies within the fund, and probably 10% of the fund is doing great, right? So in a venture fund, all you need is one company to pop that can cover the whole fund. You can lose the whole fund.
Mm.
Whole fund can go to zero, but you can have one company that pops, a Facebook or what have you, whatever it may be, can cover the whole fund, right? And that's the bet in venture.
Wow. Okay. So what made you branch off and do your own company with 22 Ventures?
I think again, like it was how can I do my part to give access to people that look like me, right? Too, right? So, and obviously continue to build on the wealth that we've ascertained. So, for me, we are focused more on the development of the person as much as we are the development of the company.
Mhm.
So in venture, there's not too much focus on the person. There's more focus on the ROI than there is the person. And the ROI is very important. But if the person is unhealthy, then most likely the business will be unhealthy. The team is
Mm.
unhealthy, right? So it's a holistic approach that we have. And I watched over the years how in the world of venture, not every firm, but for the most part, it's all about the numbers, the P&Ls, the ROIs, blah, 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 but no focus on how the person's doing. The founder, the entrepreneur, how are they doing? Do they need a vacation? How's their marriage doing? How are the kids? What are the fears? What are their worries? How can they pivot? Like not too much of that going on. And so we want to kind of create an empathy economy where we can begin to not only worry about just the profits and the growth and the scale, but also like how are you doing as a person?
Mhm.
Are you getting enough rest? Are you getting enough sleep? Do you need a vacation? Right. So there's this notion of grind within the culture today, and there's certainly times where you need to sprint and make things happen, but also like you need to take a break and take a time out and go into solitude. Right. So that balance is very important, and if you don't have that balance, you'll burn out. Right.
Mm.
And
I
so
feel
a lot of times, I'll say this too with venture. Yeah, you may get funded by a venture capital firm, but at the end of the day, when the company's acquired or when there's an IPO of any sorts, the founder makes no money usually in any of that.
really.
They're so diluted, right? And
Uh,
it's their baby. You didn't get into this to be totally diluted to 1%, right?
yeah.
So um, that sometimes happens as well.
Gotcha. So how long have you been doing 22 Ventures?
Just a year,
Just a year.
fresh.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, just fresh. Yeah,
What was your first company that you invested in?
it was a maps company called Landmass. It
Matt.
was e-commerce. Yeah, maps, like world maps.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tell me
It
about
was
this map. Nobody uses
it,
maps
it's
though.
not about maps. It's not about the maps. It was a small enough company for us to challenge ourselves to see if it worked. Our concept worked,
Hmm.
right? So I've been patient over. I think when you get into investing, you got to be patient.
Yeah.
You got to be patient, and if you're not patient, you just become a gambler. You're right at the end of the day, and for us, we were strategic in that company. The company was doing about $1 million a year in revenue, and it was small enough to where we could just experiment
Yeah.
and just see what we can do to help scale it, a digital standpoint, automation, whatever, new products, scaling back some of the SKUs that are within the company, all of that. Their CRM systems, POS systems, like just tinker and automate and whatnot. And so we were very, very strategic with that acquisition, and so that was the first company.
So they're already doing $1 million. Did you find them or they found you?
We found them.
Gotcha. So you like
Found,
I like what you're doing, and you not only just give them money, like you take on responsibility of
we
building the
bought it.
business.
We bought it. Yeah, we
Oh,
bought it.
y'all
We
acquired it.
bought it. We bought it. We acquired the company.
The person who founded it, did they stay around in the company?
No, no.
Hmm.
Yeah, completely acquired the company.
Can
So
I ask a question that you may not answer?
sure.
So a company is doing, and it's a really important question. A company is doing $1 million a year. How much did you acquire the company for?
Just over a million,
Just
actually.
over 1 million.
Just over a million. Because usually you buy a company for 3 to 4 or 5x worth of the company. Nah, it's an e-commerce company. It's a direct-to-consumer company. So it didn't require that much manpower from the previous owner to generate to where it got to $1 million. And we were like, it's not even a company. So if it's doing $1 million not as a company, how much can we grow it and scale it with all that we bring to the table as far as expanded
Oh,
operations? So
interesting.
yeah, yeah. So
Interesting. Did was that what that person wanted? Like they just wanted out, or
get a win. I always tell people get a win. If you have an opportunity for acquisition, get it.
I like that.
Yeah, get it. Get a win. Get wins under your belt, right?
I actually
And
like that.
create that credibility, right? Don't
Gotcha.
hold on to it, right? And I appreciate taking a good company to a great company, but if you have an opportunity to get acquisition, get it, right? And then what
Gotcha.
you do is you take that win and you expound and you grow. And you get something
So
bigger.
I feel that you grow it to $1 million, sell it, take the million cash because the company was doing gross 1 million or netting a
Grow,
million.
gross,
It was gross.
grow.
Oh yeah. So you're like, yo, I take $1 million, go do something else. I'm good. Okay.
100%, 100%. So, the strategy is
It's dope,
uh,
actually.
to accumulate enough of these companies and then ultimately roll them up and sell it to a private equity group.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Say it again.
So we have a roll up strategy exit plan in years to come, right? To accumulate enough of these small companies, grow them 2x, 3x, 4x, get wins, roll them all up, and sell them potentially to a private equity group. Private equity groups are
Mm.
looking for this all day long, right? So we want to just accumulate a number of companies and one day roll it up and then sell it.
Whew. Okay. Do you primarily try to just buy companies that are already rolling, or do you just would you prefer to have equity in a company? What would be your preference?
I think both.
So
I
yeah,
think both.
it's in the deal, right?
I think if you have operations in place to help scale a business, there's nothing wrong with acquiring a company, right?
Yeah.
And then also too with equity, okay, you need a little fuel to the fire. We'll help you, right? We'll give you some mentorship. We'll give you access to our network. We'll give you capital, but in exchange, we'll get equity for our services and our sweat.
Hmm. So
Like that.
the how many companies have you acquired since you started a year ago,
Acquired just
or
one other.
just did acquire a
Yeah,
partnership, whatever?
yeah. We're in the process of we're doing due diligence for the next company we want to acquire.
Gotcha.
Um, we want to continue to expand our operations, but we purchased a yoga studio,
Hmm.
and that was strategic in the sense where um, there's an opportunity to not just buy one but buy 10. So
Hmm. What do you
that
mean?
so one buying one yoga studio doesn't scratch the itch for me,
Right.
right? It has a ceiling, it has a cap, but if you have 10, then now we're talking, right? So there's an opportunity for if we can scale and grow the yoga studio to a certain point, then that will get us the access and opportunity to buy potentially 10 more yoga studios. So it's under a franchise. So we were,
Got
yeah.
it. But
But
the yoga studio, that's just one. It's not more than one. It's just one. But you're saying if I can get the systems and kind of get that profitable, then I'll franchise it to another 9 or 10.
well, it's under a franchise. The franchise is Yoga 6. It's out of San Diego.
It's under a
It,
franchise, and
correct,
you bought one of the franchisees.
correct, correct. With the potential to buy more. So
Got it.
yeah, but
Got
there's a
it.
purpose behind it too, because you know, again, when you're talking about wellness, right? Self care, it's a place where our leaders can go, right? Get exercise, meditate, what have you, right? Yoga is a really good exercise and good form. So we enjoy that. We all do it, and obviously, when it comes to people of color, we not too keen to go do some yoga. So we want to break that stigma and say, hey, yoga is not just for the skinny blonde; it's for everybody, right?
Yeah.
It's good for everybody. So we want to break that stigma as well. So there's a purpose behind that as well.
Was what was did you buy that company, or did you just, kind of invest in it?
No, we bought that studio.
From the okay.
Yeah, yeah.
What was the studio doing when you purchased it?
I'll give you this. We now, mind you, we bought this COVID, right, during COVID. So we did year over year last year over 200%,
Really?
the highest in that location in the history of that location.
Oh, and I guess during COVID, the company's down because
No one
it's
knows it.
COVID.
Yeah, yeah,
So you really had to have some vision to say it's probably not doing well right now, but eventually outside is going to open up. And I guess I can imagine the actual owner of that franchise like, yo, I'm stressed. I'm
yep,
done.
yep, yep. It's interesting because when we look to acquire companies, where are the growth opportunities in the company? Is there a realistic opportunity for us to scale this company and grow it?
Yeah.
If there is, we'll take a stab at it. So we definitely saw people coming back to the gyms, back to the studios at some point, and they are.
I love that. I love that. All right, so I for somebody that's watching right now, I know we're gonna wrap up in about 3 minutes. But for somebody that's watching that is saying, I want to work with Michael. I want to work with the venture group, right? Um, what are you looking for before you part with your money?
Wow, great question. I think the person first,
Mhm.
because you can have a company that appears to be doing well, but if I can't bet on you, the person, then I'm not betting on the company, right? So we just uh, we just did a deal with Donato's, which is a Midwest regional pizza chain. And so our operator of this deal, Ron Jordan, was a restaurateur. He had a restaurant. He was in the fast food franchising world. And me and him spent about a year together before we did a deal together. And so, young brother, 33 years old, really ambitious, spent time with him and his wife, his kids, discovered a lot about his friends, his surroundings, his reputation in the city. And then when the opportunity came about to be the operator of this franchise opportunity, we became the largest franchisee within this pizza chain. He's our operator. So the deal was good. It was great. But at the end of the day, we wanted to have the right operator in place. So I'm looking for the right operator and the right person, right? Coachability, humility, teachable, hungry, um, and a go getter.
What about the numbers?
Numbers are everything. So, but at the end of the day, you can have numbers, but do you have the right team? Are you the right person to continue to help grow this opportunity, this business? So my focus and our focus primarily is on the person, and then we'll get to the numbers. And if the numbers don't make sense, then we can't do the deal.
Yeah.
But the numbers got to make sense, obviously. But the person riding the ship and conducting the ship, that's important as well.
But before they come to you, and I want to wrap it up, but what other than obviously being the right person to invest in terms of having their company able to present to you, what do they have to come to you with?
Oh, I mean, proof of growth. Um, we need to see projections, and projections are what have you, but just some kind of traction, right? How have you done last year? How'd you do the year before? You know, have you shown growth, right? And that's the one thing Ron had done. He had shown growth in his business already. So
Gotcha.
that added a level of confidence to what we wanted to do with him. So I think traction is important. I mean, social proof. You know, are you a go getter? Is there growth? There's a growth opportunities. All those things we look at.
I love it, Michael. Man, I appreciate you, man. Listen, if you guys are listening, man, make sure you get your tickets to Black Equity Conference. Go to blackequitycon.com. This is the conversation that I'm going to be having all year on YouTube, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, just around equity, man. Because I think people don't understand it. They're giving up their equity, not focus on building equity. And I think even building equity puts you in a position to be able to exit and to make more money because your equity is valuable. So, Mr. Michael Redd, I appreciate you jumping on the show, man. I got to get you on the Social Proof podcast as well. We're going to make that happen, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, my brother.
Thank you, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm honored, man. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, hey, make sure y'all follow Michael Redd, man, and get your company ready and ask him for some money. You know what I mean? Are you actively investing in entrepreneurs?
Of course.
That's what I'm talking about.
Of course, absolutely, no question.
Man, Mike, I appreciate you, my brother. We gotta do this more often, all right?
Man, absolutely, man.
Yes,
absolutely.
Sir.
Anytime.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, y'all, get y'all tickets to Black Equity Conference. Go to blackequitycon.com. I'll see y'all next week. Peace.